Greetings, one and all. I am proud to present to you Vampire the Masquerade Coteries of New York. This came out less than an hour ago as of the time of this recording, so this is about as blind as it's ever going to be. Well, I say about as blind. I know a tiny bit about it. I looked up a little bit in advance. And, namely what I looked up was the clan list. It's not very good. We're going to be going Bruja because I don't like the Venture or the Toreador. I should explain some of this, but I guess we'll just let the text here do it for me. I hope you can hear me over the music, because I can't hear me. Just gonna take my headphones off, in fact. It's so 90s. Bruja. The rabble rebel against power and rage. Wait. The rabble rebel against power and rage. I have no idea how I fucked that up. Against power, comma, and rage against authority. A seemingly insignificant man with significant ideas will join their ranks tonight. Or, Ventru. The aristocratic blue bloods embody wealth, sovereignty, and control. A top-level corporate executive will join their ranks tonight. And Toreador. That looks like a gangrel. If you don't know what a gangrel is, I'm sure it will be explained later. Not that you're allowed to play one. I won't lie, I'm a little bit butthurt about that. Toreador. The divas seek thrills of art, romance, and cruelty amidst stagnant undeath. Like I said, we're gonna go with Bruja, even though we gotta wear this horrible, like, what is that suit? It looks terrible. It looks like it's the only thing he owns. Being a Bruja, it very well might be the only thing he owns. I had something I was gonna say here, and I lost it. Oh wait, that's right. Apparently this is based off of the 5th edition of Vampire the Masquerade, so I can't tell you a whole lot about the differences in this game and that one, because I've never played it. I probably never will. Not necessarily because I think it looks terrible. There are parts of it I think looks pretty terrible. But because I have no one to play it with. Anyway, let's go. Name. I don't want to use the default, and I don't want to use my real name. So... I was not planning to have to name myself here. Oh, what should I go with? I should pause this. Yeah, fuck it. Let's just go with, let's just be lazy about it. We are LawfulStupid. I'm not allowed to go further than that. I can dig it. But I have to use the mouse for that. Apparently. I can use the controller for everything else, but not that. Question mark, question mark, question mark. New York taught me to believe in fate. Yeah, if you don't like listening to me read, run away. Because that's pretty much all this game is. Had you asked me about fate back when I was human, I would have told you it's just superstitious bullshit. That we were all designers of our own destinies. That belief shattered when the richest woman in the United States, the actual richest one, not a face you could have seen in the papers, of course, sank her teeth deep into my neck. I have no idea what accent I'm going for. It happened in the very same place you're standing in right now, by the way. Fate? You decide. ... Please, there's absolutely no need to be hostile. Just listen for a little longer. You see, my mistake was, I flew too close to the sun. Makes sense that my punishment was to never see its glow again. I was incandescent myself. Oh, I was hot shit. I had it all. Money, looks, confidence, connections, men, women, a career, and a spark in the eye. one you need to be born with. That's when someone far more powerful than me saw my radiance. Thought, that won't do. She robbed me of the light erupting from within me, gave me a subtle, enduring gleam. She decided it would fit me much better. She was a 9th generation kindred, just like you. Apex predator. 9th gen isn't Apex, it is kind of Apex. Probably enjoyed showing me a peak of human excellence, my real place in the food chain. Such an eyesore when you look at some loud-mouthed braggart and see them for all they really are. Temptation to teach them a lesson can be unbearable, right? Well, my sire's lesson was a lesson about fate. A message saying you're eternally doomed to being at the mercy of your sovereigns. It almost drove me to destroy myself. What saved me was the ability to reinterpret her teaching. Hers wasn't a message of doom, it was a message of hope. Fate exists, and one can shape it if given the right tools. My sire didn't believe my tools were fitting for the job. She considered them toys, and me just her amusing subject. Well, she's deader than dead now, and I'm still here, standing right where she stood when we first met. You might have wondered how I've learned about your arrival to JFK Airport. My answer is, of course, destiny. As luck would have it, today happened to be a day some of my associates were inspecting the coffins. Driving you here straight from the plane and having you wake up in such an unfamiliar place was a little desperate, and I do apologize for it. But it is so rare for you to visit New York. 3 times in the last 15 years, was it? You're never eager to inform me you're here. I understand you still have that meeting on 53rd Street later tonight, so I'll provide a comfortable transport. I value our relationship very much, don't get me wrong. But it is precisely because I value it. I'm going to ask you to repay the favor you owe me. You're the only one I'd trust to do the job well, without attracting attention. Okay, they can't be talking about me, no chance. You might think I'm crazy, asking you to breach the rules of our society like this. You might think you won't get away with it unpunished. Yeah, definitely not talking to me. This is New York, and I don't know about other cities, but in this one, fate really exists. Right now, it's smiling in your favor. I think I've gone, like, half Cajun on this, and I don't know why. This is how it begins. Okay, I don't think she's talking anymore. The music is pounding and your pulse is keeping pace. This is one of those nights that makes you feel alive, even though it started with you feeling dead. First came the messy breakup, then the realization you have nobody to talk to about how much it sucked. Still, you decided to roll with the punches. One Facebook search for local events later, and you found just the thing for your malaise. I'm sure I mispronounced that. Also, really? We're getting straight to the topical references? Short subway ride. Damn it. Short subway ride, and you find yourself at the club just outside Dumbo. What the hell is Dumbo? The elephant? Not a fancy one, mind you. More like a slightly refurbished warehouse. But hey, at least the drinks are cheap. Hey, the best clubs are in warehouses. I should know, being a shut-in and all. The DJ seems to really know his shit too, alternating between cutting-edge industrial techno and classic Detroit crowd pleasers, expertly feeling out everyone's mood. An hour passes, then 2. Usually you'd feel awkward coming to a place like this alone, but tonight you find something soothing in joining the crowd, blending in even as you allow the beat to take over. I just noticed the lights in the background. I've been too busy looking at the text. Gonna have to put an epilepsy warning in the description. But if you can see past the horrible light effects there, look at the crowd there. Half of them don't care in the slightest, and the others are desperately trying to pretend they do. Sweat, yours, other people's, soaks through your shirt and pants in a matter of minutes. Ew. That's just gross. A thought pops into your head about how incredibly gross this place is. From the outside, the fully packed club must seem like a stuffy, smelly nightmare. Because it is. But here, in the thick of it, it becomes exhilarating. You're not even on the pill tonight. You're not even on a pill tonight. I keep having to fight the auto scroll to get back to the top. There's this Latina chick whose curves are accentuated by the light dress clinging to her body, and she keeps bumping into you. Something tells you it only seems incidental. Yeah, it's a good night. You wish it could last forever, because you know all too well what the next day holds. Waking up, getting dressed for work, the commute, the 9-to-5 grind that will make you just enough money to pay the rent and keep living in your overpriced shithole of an apartment. We're getting a little real here. I can dig it. And with Jessica moving out, it'll all be coming out of your pocket. You run some quick calculations in your head and immediately come to regret that you did. Never mind, you spot the Latina again. She's now next to another guy, hitting it off. Your chance of going to bed alone, chance of not going to bed alone, gone. Just like that. Fuck. Your mood temporarily shot down. You leave the dance floor and stumble your way to the filthy bathroom, which can't possibly be worse than the filthy dance floor. You take a look in the mirror and start to wash your face, obsessively. I would not be wanting... Okay, I would want to wash off after being in here. I would not want to wash my face in a filthy bathroom. God knows what's in that water. Over and over again. A voice from the past echoes in your mind. That's actually a pretty cool shirt. It's creepy. I've never felt like this with anyone. Seriously, I mean it. I feel like all of my relationships up to this point were test runs. A shitty way to compensate for my low self-esteem. Apparently I'm Cajun today. At least my women voices are. Really, really terrible fake Cajun. This feels right. Finally. Shut up, Jess. This is the craziest fucking day of my life. God, I need a smoke. Pass me a light. What do you mean? What do you mean cops took the lighter? One in your mouth. There's one in your mouth. What? Just shut the hell up. This is not you. Not anymore. Oh, fuck off. This is so like you, acting like some sort of Clint Eastwood wannabe when I really, really need you to open up. You think you're impressing people with this tough guy act? Fuck you! I know how broken you really are. You need therapy. Yeah, now that sounds like the Jessica of today. You raise your head and look in the mirror. Try to smile, but all you can muster is a self-pitying grin. I don't know, it kind of seems like getting out of that was for the best. She seems like kind of a prick. There she is, the Latina from before. Why are you in the men's room? She says you look like you need a drink. You hesitate for a second or two, and then blurt out a surprisingly enthusiastic, "Yeah!" You start to talk. It quickly becomes evident that she's into politics, and you are eager to please. You might be a corporate drone, but you spend a lot of evenings reading theory, actual theory, not bastardized Twitter cliff notes, and organizing for all manners of causes online. Would that be manner of? I don't know. The status quo sucks. There must be something better. She agrees. My fellow fans of Vampire the Masquerade probably already know where this is going. Like, not even subtle about it. You seem to subscribe to the same progressive political theories, have compatible ideas about the DSA's missteps, even watch the same YouTube channels. There we go again, just gating the shit out of this. I love it. Your goals are aligned. Just a bit more radical than you'd have guessed. You attended a few rallies, been to a few protests, but this girl sounds like she broke her share of faces and kicked more than a couple of cops in the nuts over the course of her activist career. Her zeal is infectious. She taps into pent-up anger you didn't know you had. The noisy hub stops working for you both, so you hit the streets. Stumbling over all of this. So as you're leaving, the DJ starts playing All the Things She Said. All the Things She Said by Tattoo. I guess that's how it's pronounced. I don't know. All the music I listen to is like 30 years out of date. And I'm not even 25 yet. Of course, you chuckle to yourself, trying not to slip into a bad headspace. She chuckles along with you. It's chilly outside, but soon enough you find yourself too invested in listening to the girl's voice to care about anything else. For some reason, you can scroll text that didn't scroll. And you can scroll so much that it goes off screen. Weird. Let's take a look at this picture here. There's not a lot going on. Though I don't like how close we are to the tracks. I swear, if a subway bus or whatever it is comes rocketing through in front of me, I will freak out. You realize you've been holding hands for a while. How do you not notice that? The subway car is empty, save for a stoic middle-aged couple and a drunk staring intently at his own feet. Plenty of room to stretch out, and yet she sits right next to you. You can feel her thigh pressing into yours, her breath on the side of your neck. Maybe it's the booze talking, but you distinctly hear your voice asking if she'd like to crash at your place. I've got a better idea, she says. At this point, you're down for anything, as long as it lets you spend just a few more minutes with her. She takes you to a sleazy motel in the Bronx, trading a few words with the balding, tired-looking guy at the front desk. He hands her a key, still holding your hand. The woman leads you up the stairs. The room you end up in is almost comically stereotypical, complete with flaking paint and a sticky floor. Ew. Not that it matters, though. The moment you step through the door, she's on you. I might have to cut this out. You try to take the lead, but she's having none of it. Before you know it, you feel the rickety bed pressing against your back. It's sloppy, fun, fierce, and not once does she lose the initiative. Your hands reach under her t-shirt. Strange. Didn't look like she was cold outside, but now her skin feels eerily cool. As if sensing your confusion, she slaps your hands off of her. She kisses your neck. You are overwhelmed by the sensation. Darkness. Taste of liquid fire and smoke on your tongue. Her voice saying, "Sorry, kid. I did what I had to do to leave the city in one piece. But don't worry, with my blood and your principles, you're gonna do just fine." She slams the motel door behind her as she leaves. You lie helpless on the soiled, pungent mattress for some time. Minutes, hours, before you can focus enough to try and piece together your evening. It hits you. Big hunger. It grips you by the throat and makes your inside shrivel in terror. It's an all-encompassing emptiness that throws you on all fours. You crawl for a while, squirm on the floor in sundering pain, then jump to your feet and bust out the door. Blackout. This is the room you saw when you last closed your eyes. Somebody curses at you. A small, naked, buff dude holding a short leather whip. Wow, what a goofy motherfucker. He throws a punch. He yells out several slurs. He hits you in the jaw. Blackout again. The guy isn't moving anymore. There's blood on his neck. Blood on his arms. There's blood on the floor. There's blood everywhere. Wow. Whoever did this is one sick puppy. You realize you're sitting on top of his corpse. You hear a whimper. Someone else is there. A woman. Her arms are tied to the bed frame, an eye mask over her face, red marks on her back. It's time you see it happen. You want to stop, but can't. She almost manages to get a scream out, but it dies in her throat as you bite into the side of her neck. Blood. You're drinking blood. You could swear you feel her life force escaping her body. Suddenly terrified, you tear away from her. She's not moving, but she's breathing. There's barely a mark on her neck. Got on the floor, though. Dark. Double over in a spasm, realizing what you did. You feel like throwing up, but can only gag. Panic sets in as another realization dawns on you. Your heart's not beating. Put 2 fingers to your wrist, but feel no pulse. Same thing on the neck. Nothing. No breath coming out of your mouth. And we got a Steam achievement. Rebel yell. There's no breath coming out of your mouth. You have to get out. Get someone to call an ambulance. For yourself, at least. Probably too late for the dude on the floor. You really kill him? What a mess. Okay. That is an awesome character design. I must steal that at some point. You look up. The door to the room is ajar. A tall, handsome, broad-shouldered man fills the entire frame. He brushes an imaginary speck of dirt off his perfectly tailored suit. This isn't what it looks like. God, we look terrible. Hey man, this is what it looks like. That's good to hear, because from where I'm standing, it looks like you're in a world of trouble. He surveys the room, not moving an inch from where he's standing. He shakes his head in mock concern. Murder, assault, that's 25 to life, if you're lucky. But since you're not, it's a death sentence. He takes a glance at his expensive-looking watch. Lucky for you, it's been a slow night. Otherwise, I might not have gotten here in time. Come on, the sun comes up in a few hours. You don't want to be around here when it does. The sun? What's the matter when the sun comes up? Ah, so you don't even know. Glad I got here before you made yourself scarce. The man approaches you and starts talking. His tone remains unnaturally calm. Oddly enough, you find it both soothing and slightly unnerving. Now, listen to me. Though this is all new to you, I've dealt with hundreds of strays like you. Going by experience, they tend to fall into 2 categories. First, the smart ones who carefully obey my every word and don't try to pull off anything stupid. I always get them where they need to be, safe and sound. Then there are the dumb ones. Punks who thought they could take me on, the wise guys who tried to contact somebody secretly and without permission, the troublemakers who tried to run off or make a scene. None of them got to their destination in one piece. In fact, most of them never reached their destination at all. His voice becomes slightly bored and monotone. You can tell he's given this speech before, likely dozens of times. So you see, while I generally consider myself pretty smart, I'm also a Mets fan. My one true weakness. One that inspired me to come up with a 3-strike system when dealing with pups like you. Get on my nerves once or twice? Well, I understand. Not all of us perform well in stressful situations. Cross me 3 times and you're out. No excuses, no forgiveness, no mercy. As he's talking, he slowly approaches you, adding a bit of a theatrical swagger to his walk. Eventually, he leans in, deliberately invading your personal space. You realize it's a test, daring you to do something about it. Strikes. You're out. Say, I understand, sir. Now. You've never been too eager to bend the knee to anyone, but this is something else. Man's very presence instills a primal fear in your heart. Now, I know what we should say, being a brouhaha, the obvious one. But, on the other hand, it's pretty obvious we shouldn't fuck with this guy. So let's fuck with this guy. Fuck you, sir. With all due respect, sir, go fuck yourself. Strike 1 and watch the language, whelp. Moving on. Is there anyone you'd want to inform of your current situation? Tell them you're alright. He flashes his fangs briefly, and for some reason the sight sends a chill down your spine. Very wrong about him. Okay, I'm making some predictions in my head. I've got one that's like immediately super obvious. I'm pretty sure anybody who's played Vampire the Masquerade already can tell what it is that I'm thinking. I got two others that, if they're not revealed by the end of the episode, I will state what my predictions are. Someone closest to you. Lie out your ass. My ex-girlfriend. Jessica, my ex-girlfriend. She kind of hates my guts, but yeah, I suppose it would be her. The stranger gives you a puzzled look and decides to prod further. The closest person in your life hates your guts. This time, something resembling a look of pity. He turns his eyes to the corpse on the floor. Rains and pours, I suppose. Well, if you'd like to ruin her day and let her know you're alright, give me your phone number. I'll have someone take care of it. Discreetly, of course. Oh, my immersion is totally broken. You hand him your smartphone so he can copy the number from your list of contacts. My immersion is broken because not only do I not have a smartphone, I don't have a phone. I'm living in the dark ages. Thank you. This will be very useful in illustrating my next point. Instead of giving you back your phone, the man hides it in his pocket. From this point on, you are subject to different laws than the ones you grew up under, and you'll be watched by many eyes to ensure these laws are respected. You are forbidden from letting anyone know you're still alive. You are forbidden from showing your face anywhere they know you. If anyone comes looking for you, it's over for both you and them. Yeah, I can't do a proper monotone, sorry. No, I probably could, but I don't think my mic would pick it up. I had to do a lot of setting adjustments so that it didn't pick up every single sound in the house. And now I kind of have to be kind of loud just for it to pick up anything. Or I could do this. The slightest tap on the desk, and just immediately picks it up. He interrupts his monotone recitation and stares deep into your eyes. So unless you want your girlfriend to end up at the bottom of the Hudson, I'd suggest you cooperate. He proudly displays his fangs again. You've put Jess in danger. God damn it. I can only hope that you care for her enough not to do anything selfish. His words are meant to imply otherwise, but by now it's obvious. He hates your guts as much as you hate his. He's itching for a fight, and you're almost willing to oblige. Alright, I think that's enough lecturing for today. I want a bit of a schedule here. Now, I don't need to hurt you. I can do so in the blink of an eye. Just so that we're clear, I have the authority to end you right here, right now. This is not an idle threat. Play along? You have to do it the hard way. Yeah, let's follow him out. It's one of those things where, like, I get the feeling there is, like, a you fucked up royal option, where it'll just, like, game's over, you got the worst ending possible. I kind of want to do that, because it'll be funny, but no, we should probably just go with him. You know, get the episode moving. Yeah. I really struggled on that one, I'm not gonna lie. You weigh your chances, but it doesn't look promising. The guy's fit, determined, and looks like he means business. You, on the other hand, are confused, exhausted, and on the verge of a panic attack. Yeah, fine, I'll go with you. He almost looks disappointed. A wise decision. Follow me, please, and close the door behind you. You take one final look at the woman, who's just coming to, at the body on the ground. This is fucked. Absolutely fucked. You pull the handle and close the door. The man leads you downstairs. You contemplate signaling the bald guy at the front desk, but he's too busy watching some 90s action flick on a small, ancient-looking TV. Lucky bastard. He seems totally oblivious to your presence. You hear a dejected Jean-Claude Van Damme say, I just want to go home. as you're walking by. I'm honestly surprised they were allowed to mention Jean-Claude Van Damme. Facebook and YouTube are one thing, but that's a direct actor. Huh. Your would-be kidnapper stops by the door and addresses you before opening it. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, as soon as he opens the door, I'm gonna make a run for it. Maybe I can outrun him. I'll save you the trouble. You can't. You can either get inside my car, and I'll get you where you need to be, or you can try something stupid that you'll regret later. Do I make myself clear? I'm not gonna lie, I'm loving this guy. Clear as day. Day, huh? I pissed him off even more. He opens the door and gestures to a black Cadillac Escalade parked right outside the building. Hey look, the cops! The really, really blindingly bright cops. After you. Following the stranger's instructions, you make your way to the car and get in the passenger seat. The door locks behind you. Inside, the Cadillac is almost entirely dark. The side windows seem light-proof. The man gets in the driver's seat, starts the engine, and drives away without another word. Who are you? Who the hell are you, anyway? I'm the ferryman, here to take you to the other side. He weighs his next words carefully. You'll have to forgive me. I'm not in the mood to wax poetic about the state you're in or my role in tonight's events. Just remember, to survive the next 24 hours, you'll have to play along. This some shady bullshit. Man, this is bullshit. Why does everything have to be a fucking riddle? Got some of me right. And no, they didn't model this off of me, obviously. I'm just being a smartass. Well, riddle me this. Who's gonna get their teeth smashed in their brain if he doesn't shut up? Understand that this is for your own good. Times being what they are, you should consider yourself lucky. You drive in silence for about 20 more minutes. As exhaustion catches up with you, the streetlights fade into a blur. Eventually, the car stops, and the doors open. You emerge from your dreamlike state and find yourself in some kind of underground parking garage. You two are the only ones here. I don't know why I keep having trouble with simple stuff. The man points to a nearby door. I'm guessing that one with the red light coming through it. Go in, make yourself comfortable. If you get hungry, again, take a look in the fridge. I'll pick you up tomorrow, and you'll get your answers. Behind the door is a small room, no windows, just a simple bed and a single light bulb hanging from the ceiling. Apparently a red light bulb. A small fridge is humming away in the corner, accompanied by a rattling AC fan in the wall. Guess I have to trust you? I guess I got no choice but to trust you. It took you this long to figure out? Remember when I said you were lucky? I meant it. See, my job is to get rid of problems, but I'm not always this polite about it. This time, I was specifically told to mind my manners. So believe me when I tell you, considering how this night could have turned out, being stuck in here for a night is a really good deal. Now get in, or I'll throw you in. Walk inside the room, or try to escape. Now, let's not be a little bitch about this. Let's just go in the room. Yeah, that's the not be a little bitch about it option. You step inside. The stranger nods. Good night. He closes the door behind you. It looks sturdy, but as he's locking it, you notice claw marks all over. Looks like some previous guests weren't satisfied with their stay. You decide not to dwell on it and check the fridge. There's a single plastic bag there, filled with red liquid, no label. Tomato soup? You feel sick to your stomach. Best to leave it for now. You lie down on the bed. It's a simple mattress on a metal frame. You can't help but think it looks exactly like the one back at the hotel with the bound woman. Oh, right! You killed a man tonight! Or did you? Maybe none of this is real. Maybe it's all an elaborate prank. The girl at the club, Jess might have put her up to it. The tall guy's clearly in on it too. Now he's back with them, and they're all laughing their asses off. Ha ha ha! We kidnapped a man and left him to starve to death after thinking he murdered someone. You don't know what to think anymore. Your mind races, but you're too tired to keep going. Finally, you tense up one last time before drifting away into oblivion. You wake up. That in itself was a surprise. You barely remember when you drifted off. Didn't feel quite like sleep. More like plummeting into an endless void. You imagine that's how death feels like. The room is unchanged. The lamp is still on. The AC is still rattling. The refrigerator is still humming. You take a look at your watch. It's almost 9 p.m. You've slept for 17 hours straight. I did that once! Oh, that was horrible! No, seriously, you don't want to sleep that long. It gets painful. I want to look at those things in the upper left corner, but it's bothering me. But I need to keep going. Maybe you died. Your breath is gone, and you feel no thumping in your chest. Does that qualify as dead if you're still conscious? I think so? Actually, that's kind of a good question, because I've heard of people who were still conscious after their heart stopped. You know, obviously their heart got resuscitated because they lived to tell about it. But does that qualify? Huh. Food for thought. You're not sure about that, but you are certain about one thing. You are hungry. Not your stomach rumbling, though. The need that starts somewhere in your abdomen and spreads to your chest, throat, and back of the head. You open the fridge, the bag is still there. Take a closer look at it. If it is soup, then its color and texture are off. Pull the cork out, take a whiff, recognize the smell immediately. Holy shit. No mistaking it. It's bagged blood. The smell is faint and you remember some situations in the past where you found it nauseating, but now it's almost... No, not almost. It is enticing. Nibble, nibble! It feels wrong, but right now there's barely anything in your life that doesn't. To hell with it. Pour a bit of the liquid into your mouth. Tastes bland. Reminds you of cheap supermarket juice. Just enough flavor to register as what it claims to be on the box, but nothing like the real thing. Like what you had the last time. You swallow it. Somehow you don't feel sick. In a weird, messed up way, you can't help but think it feels nourishing. Take a few more sips. Then just another, and then just another one. Suck on the bag a little more. Eventually you find that you've emptied it entirely. All, you look at the info pressed into the side of the bag, 450 milliliters of it. I don't know if I got the measurement right. I can't measure anything. Even with its blandness, you still feel like having more. Realize your body longs for that intoxication. Intoxication high you felt when... Should that be intoxicating? An image of that corpse crosses your mind, causing you to wince. What have you become? Are you seriously dumb enough to not know what a vampire is? Like, have you never seen a movie? Ever? Me? Not you, viewers at home. The me this guy, LawfulStupid. LawfulStupid is a moron. You try to piece your thoughts together, make sense of it all, when you hear the lock click and see the door open. Standing there is the well-dressed stranger you met yesterday. Immaculate suit again, that predatory look like a hawk on the hunt. On a hunt, but somehow more relaxed tonight. So, like a tamed hawk, maybe. I can't tell, is that the same suit? I don't remember. Still looks good. Good evening. Slept well? He notices the discarded empty bag. I see you had a bit of a snack. Yeah, got any more? I did. Got any more? No. Don't expect sustenance to be this easy to find the next time. Come on. Please the beat. The car is humming in the empty parking lot just outside the door of the cramped room you've spent the day in. Man motions to it, politely, but with a stern look on his face. Yeah, try to hijack the car right in front of him. That can't possibly end badly. I'm trusting you here, man. I'm touched. Sincerely. You take the back seat again. The doors lock. The stranger takes the wheel and starts the car. You drive in silence for a while. From time to time, you keep trying to catch glimpses of familiar streets or landmarks through the blackened windows, but it's of little use. The car is also soundproofed, so all you can hear is a bit of traffic humming and the car's engine. The driver doesn't say anything and seems focused on the road. You check the door handle. Yeah, the door is locked all right. A piece of dark glass separating you and the front of the car looks sturdy, too. There's glass there? Doesn't look like it. There is nothing left to do but wait. You didn't have time to think about it before, but you realize now that you're hungry? No, not exactly. Not a rumbling stomach that grabs your attention. It's a need that starts somewhere in your abdomen. We already read that! I'm annoyed by that repetition. You try to extract some information out of the man behind the wheel, but you realize you prefer to bask in the afterglow of your last meal. You wouldn't have expected it. You spend the rest of the trip lost in your thoughts. A lot of them concern blood. So my normal thoughts when I'm on a road trip. It takes you another 20 minutes or so to get to your destination. As the door opens, you try to get your bearings. You're still in New York, that much is certain. Queens, maybe? After me. No sudden movements, please. You approach a nice-looking building that houses a 2-story gallery called the Art Hole. 2 large men in suits flank the door on both sides, and they give your companion a nod as you approach. Prompted by the stranger guiding you, you walk inside. The gallery is full, which is unusual at this hour, to say the least. About 2 dozen faces fill the showroom, and a number of waiters navigate the gathering, serving drinks. All of them are beneath the guests' attention. The visitors are well dressed, for the most part, but it's unclear what they have gathered here for. Nobody seems to be particularly interested in the art pieces on the walls, and the atmosphere is polite, unnaturally so. Many guests turn to look at you and the stranger who brought you here. Their glances are varied. You see open contempt on a few faces, and animated interest on others. Most of the eyes in the room calmly observe you, as if wishing to appraise your worth. The last time you felt like this was at your previous job interview. It was like being a piece of livestock inspected from all sides for any imperfection, so your wage could be haggled down. It was dehumanizing and made you feel dirty. When they called you the next day to offer the job, you declined. Even when you're a nobody, you become even less if you trade away your dignity for a paycheck. Memory makes you feel warmer even now, although the state of your bank account never did. The woman. Apparently her name is The Woman. Good evening, Kadir. To you, child. Well, that answered one of my guesses. Yeah, just the name. Just the name tells me that I was wrong about what clan he is. I'll get to that. The noble, cold voice takes you out of your head and back to the situation at hand. The gallery, a crowd of strangers, you being brought here against your will. For what purpose? The room awaits your response. Good evening, Ms. You are addressing the Prince of New York City, Helen Panhard. I have no idea how to pronounce that first name, so I'm just going to say Helen. Helena? I don't know. Child of Michaela? Michela? I'm going to go with Michaela. Thank you, my sheriff, but I am capable of introducing myself. She is somewhat plain-looking and doesn't seem to possess a great deal of charm, but still, the entire room is intently focused on her voice. She has influence over these people. That much is clear. You may address me as Prince, child.
I realize your introduction into unlife was abrupt, and I understand your sire left shortly after. The rules of our society dictate I punish you both for this transgression. A murmur of agreement, maybe, can be heard from the gathered audience. But I am willing to listen to what our loyal sheriff has to say about the circumstances of your embrace first.
Remain silent. You decide it's best to stay silent and listen to the whole situation unfold. It feels like you're out of your depth here. That's because you are. Shall we begin? You're about to be judged by the court of New York City. Kadir, please tell us how you found this fledgling and what happened on your way here. Court? Prince? Is this some kind of secret society make-believe? Yes, we are at a LARP. Trusted informant, who was chosen to remain anonymous at this time, tipped me off about a suspicious kindred appearing in one of our domains. Upon investigating, I found them gone, but this fledgling remained in their place. The hunger made him savage a prostitute and his client in a Bronx brothel belonging to one of the ministry. I've already spoken to Sansaric? I'm gonna go with Sansaric about this, and made sure it'll blow over. The fledgling proved to have quite the nerve and an unruly tongue. Surprisingly enough, he offered little resistance last night, and cooperated on our way to the safe house. I was pleased to not have to force his compliance. We had a quick chat. Wishing to appear here post-haste, I urged him to join me, which he did without struggle. Again, a pleasant departure from my usual routine. His thirst partially slaked with the bagged blood we kept in the safe house, we had a pleasant enough drive here. The story ends with us arriving at Elysium tonight. All eyes are on you again. Take a special interest in one of the faces. It's a beautiful woman with curly, almost blood-red hair and a dress to match. You see her whispering to some bespectacled man with an absent-minded look on his face. Who is she, you wonder? Thank you, Kadir. I take note of this fledgling's behavior and will take it into consideration later. Turns her attention to you. First, there is the matter of your sire, the person who brought you where Kadir picked you up from last night. Who were they? A feisty woman. Latina woman, very radical, unless she convincingly lied to me. She was special. Extraordinary. I don't remember what terrible movie I was just referencing. What was that, like? Kung Pao? I don't know. Oh, wait, no, that was Booker T, who I think was referencing Karate Kid. Being really racist about it. She had fire, conviction, temper. She seduced me, easily in fact, made me think she wanted me. I fell for it, and now I'm here. Feels awkward talking to a room full of strangers about what seemed like a random one-night stand at the time. Not to mention that even though the Latina made an impression on you for sure, her face is already fading from your mind. You realize she never even told you her name. Well, Kadir, does that sound familiar? No, it does not. At least not familiar enough. I will continue the search after we're done here. The receptionist she spoke to may know her. That chick. She rented our room at the motel. Talked to the receptionist. He might know something about her. Unlikely, but regardless, thank you for that observation. I will investigate this later. What shall I do with the fledgling, my prince? What is your recommendation, my sheriff? The traditions are clear. Thou shalt only sire another with permission of thine elder. If thou createst another without thine elder's leave, both thou and thy progeny shall be slain. I am ready to fulfill my oath. Stay your hand for just a moment longer, Kadir. I wish to consult my counsel on this. Make sure everyone is in agreement. Of course. He seems strangely relieved. The prince leaves the main showroom, and about 6 people follow her out. Quick clarification. In Vampire the Masquerade, for those who don't know, I'm pretty sure all of the titles are unisex. So,
A female prince is not a princess. They're just the prince. Which basically means they're in charge of the entire city. Okay, on with the show. You're about to ask this Kadir what all that talk of traditions and councils was when the red-haired woman approaches the two of you. I need to pause to go do stuff, but I can't remember what my hotkeys are. Yeah, we've been going for like an hour now, so I should probably be wrapping this up soon. Next scene transition, I'm gonna cut it. Sophie. Sheriff, I was wondering if I could have a word with the fledgling. What for? She lowers her voice in response. Come now, Kadir, we all know what the verdict is gonna be. Let me speak to them. Might not have to stain your hands tonight after all. Her words grab his attention. Face is hard to read. It's like several emotions are struggling for domination. Anger, sadness, hope, gratitude. Solve. I'll go get my sword. He steps out of the room the way you came, and you are left in the showroom with the woman in the red dress. He takes you aside, and the eyes of the remaining guests follow you. Well then, fledgling, you are in quite the pickle. What do you mean? What do you mean? I still don't understand what my crime is here. Poor thing. This really isn't your fault, but if you want to get out of here in one piece, you need to understand one crucial fact that seems to have eluded your grasp. Last night, you became a vampire. Wait, what? Oh yes, I'm well aware of how ridiculous that sounds. It's the reason why we have these nicer words for it. Kindred, being embraced, having a sire. Fact remains. The beings called vampires, you're looking at them. They're us. You glance around. Some of the guests are still occasionally looking at you, commenting on you in hushed tones. Many of the patrons are pale, really pale. Most hold glasses of wine. No, not wine. That's not the right thickness. Not the right color, either. You're trying to come up with something sensible to say, but you're drawing a blank. Makes a morbid kind of sense. You drank blood last night, there's no denying it. And your breathing has not returned. Your heart remains still. A vampire. Two voices in your head start battling for supremacy. One of them slowly begins to put everything that happened since yesterday together, coming to a conclusion that no matter how insane it might seem, nothing but what she's saying makes sense. The other voice just keeps saying, "What the fuck? What the fuck?" on repeat. Yeah, I have that voice in my head a lot, and pretty much nonstop. You're surprised. This is often how it plays out by design. Kadir deliberately keeping you in the dark and all. If we do nothing, you will be cut down as sure as day follows night. But I'm here to offer you a chance, a way out. Your one condition. I will take you under my wing. If you're lucky, the prince will be in a good mood tonight. Your deference to Kadir will work in your favor. He might agree to this, but only if you swear fealty to me. I'm not making this offer lightly. Patron, I will take responsibility for you. Your actions will reflect on me. If they reflect negatively, well, I will make sure you face the consequences. You'll make me your servant? Let me get this straight. You'll make me your servant in exchange for my life. That's the deal? If you insist on putting it in such pedestrian terms, yes, that is the deal, as you so eloquently put it. The alternative is, I fear, final death at the hands of Kadir, here, tonight. Steps and hushed voices can be heard from the side room. It seems the prince and her council are returning to the showroom. Kadir appears from downstairs as well and starts walking towards you. Hear the verdict. Ask to be spared. Will intervene. For my condition. She flashes a heart-melting smile towards Kadir, who does not smile back. The sheriff's immaculate suit is now complemented by a curved, oriental-looking metal scabbard. Really oriental? Couldn't narrow that down, like, at all?
Or use a... I'm not entirely sure why Oriental is racist, but I'm told it is, so I'm just going to complain about it. You know, like everybody else on the internet. Fastened with a colorful sash around his waist. It would look vaguely ridiculous if it wasn't surprisingly intimidating first and foremost. Kadir takes his place next to you and observes as the prince takes center stage again. Loyal kindred of the New York City Camarilla gathered here tonight. I have made my decision regarding this fledgling. She briefly addresses you. I want you to know that this was not an easy decision to make. For your part, you have not done anything to earn our ire. I do feel a genuine sorrow for what must be done. We are all keenly aware that these nights we need to close our ranks and trust the wisdom of our elders and their traditions more than ever before. There is no place for tolerating dissent when our very existence is under constant threat. Although I acknowledge some of my council's divergent opinions on this, takes a look specifically at one of the people who left the room before, a rather plainly dressed, shy-looking man, whose skin has a somewhat healthier tone. He bows his head in deference. I hold the final authority over this fledgling's fate, and I declare that while their embrace might be their sire's responsibility, in their absence, it is their progeny that must be punished. The sentence is final death, to be resolved presently. Kadir, you hear a scraping sound and see that the sheriff has unsheathed his curved sword. It is a beautifully detailed blade, which you expect must be worth a small fortune. Its apparent sharpness makes you freeze up. 2 outs, bottom of the 9th. His quiet mumble is audible to nobody but you. As his eyes meet yours, you note just a hint of sadness in his countenance, one that quickly vanishes to give way to grim determination. Out to bat. You will not get another chance to speak up. Okay. What I was talking about before, pretty sure there was, like, obvious death traps. These two are obvious death traps. Like, I don't see the plot bending backwards to make you not die here. So, time to get down on our knees and beg for mercy. Because pride is for stupid people. You make your choice. I'm not going down like this, damn it, spare me! Dictionary updated. Prince, if I may ask you to stay the sheriff's hand for a while longer. Okay, I'm hitting the button. I have to know what that book is. I was right. Yeah, apparently there's a dictionary for, like, basically all the stuff that's my job to explain to you that I haven't been. Hope I hit the right button there and didn't just mute it for several seconds while the dogs freaked out. I probably did. Anyway, sheriff. The sheriff ensures that the traditions and the decrees of the prince are obeyed, hunts down violators, and delivers just punishment. In the case of minor violations or known enemies of the Camarilla, the sheriff is usually authorized to act as both judge and jailer/executioner. But when it comes to greater offenses, they will deliver the accused to the court to be judged. And that's the only one we have. And while we're at it... Okay, yeah, that's just the log. Nice to know it's there. Kadir looks at the prince, awaiting her response. The sword is still hanging above you, threatening to fall at a moment's notice. Is there something you'd like to say, Ms. Langley? Yes, if I may. At first, the prince looks somewhat annoyed at the distraction, but she stays quiet for a while, measuring the mood in the room. The bored elites suddenly look at you with aroused interest, some of them dismayed at not seeing the bloodshed, but all intrigued by the unexpected twist. The prince nods. Well, let's hear it. Sophie takes a few steps forward. All eyes are on her now. But Kadir's heavy hand on your shoulder makes it clear you won't take advantage of the distraction. My prince, while the traditions are clear, I believe that the proper context should be observed in addition to the letters of our laws.
This fledgling is a burden, but with proper guidance, they could become an asset to our domain. Am I to understand you are volunteering to take this sireless child under your protection? Yes, I happen to think they might hold a potential that would be unfortunate to waste. I do expect their full cooperation, of course. Whispers can be heard again. An incredulous voice or two. A hushed, just behead the fucker! Some suppressed exclamations of surprise. Silence! I ask all of you to make a note of this moment. I might be persuaded to bend one tradition in this child's favor, but another will have to be enforced even more firmly in its stead. Till thy progeny shall be released, thou shalt command them in all things. Their sins are thine to endure. Are you certain that's a responsibility you wish to shoulder, Ms. Langley? I am willing to guide this fledgling and add a valuable ally to our sect in the time of need, yes. But I would like to receive the right of destruction over them, if it pleases you. It's clear tensions are high. It feels surreal to listen to strangers discussing your death, or second death apparently, and keeping silent. You decide it's for the best to let Sophie handle this alone and not interject. You have no idea how to handle this eyes wide shut crowd. The prince looks at you as if weighing your worth, takes another good measure of the room before she speaks again. I shall grant what you ask. Let it be known, Sophie Langley of the Clan of the Rose, called it, will become this fledgling's patron. Fledgling? I really butchered that one. They shall be considered like sire and child. And yeah, Clan of the Rose, that means Sophie is a Toreador. We'll get to them later. Miss Langley will take full responsibility for them, and I grant her the right of destruction if she sees fit to use it. Let my intentions be clear, however. If I am to turn a blind eye to one of our most important traditions on this occasion, I expect it to be beneficial to the Camarilla. Substantially so. I hope you find this verdict satisfactory, Miss Langley. Of course, Prince. Thank you. Very well. She turns to you. What is your name, child? Oh, now you're asking my name. So hard not to... I'm having an internal debate. I gotta do it! Oh, now you're asking my name. Now that I'm no longer cattle to be slaughtered, fledgling and child got old. Kadir visibly tenses up at this, and so does Sophie. The prince remains unfazed. Careful with that unruly tongue of yours. I've given, I can just as easily take away. Her voice takes on a stern and threatening. I would like to hear your name now. Suddenly overcome by base terror, you blurt out your name. LawfulStupid! They really should have just looked at me and gone, liar! And immediately killed me. A mean smile appears on the prince's face. She nods. Welcome to the Camarilla, LawfulStupid. Now let's read that one. Not nearly as long as it should be. The Camarilla, a major sect of vampires devoted primarily to maintaining the Masquerade through influence and manipulation of mortal society. The Masquerade, in short, is man, I know how to explain it, and I don't know why I'm fucking this up. Okay, the Masquerade, in short, is making everyone believe that vampires and the supernatural isn't real. Obviously, it's incredibly important in a world with assault rifles, flamethrowers, shotguns that shoot fire. Yeah. Like, normal bullets don't do shit against a vampire. Fire, bad! Fire, amazingly bad! Now we got another one!
stop and read that. Fledgling, a newly created vampire still under their sire's protection. Fledgling usually refers to any vampire under the age of 50. Yeah, vampires take an incredibly long time to hit each of their age thresholds in Vampire the Masquerade. Like, for example, the oldest is Methuselah. Well, the oldest that you can actually reach. Methuselah, you have to be at least 1,000 years old. Yeah, there's not many of them left. The actual oldest is antediluvian, which refers to... I think it literally translates as before the deluge, as in the biblical flood. Yeah, there's only like 15 of them in total. No, less than that. Now, this evening proved to be even more eventful than I anticipated, but with the fledgling's fate decided, I believe our meeting here can conclude. Thank you all for appearing on such short notice. Give my regards to those who couldn't make it. Kadir, a moment of your time before I let you return to your duties? Of course, Prince. Man, we're just getting all kinds of dictionary entries. Prince, a vampire has claimed a given expanse of domain as their own, generally a city, and supports that claim against all others. The term can refer to a kindred of either sex. He shoots you a side glance that doesn't leave much space for interpretation. You will be watched, you will be judged, and if need be, you will be punished. The two of them leave the gallery. If it wasn't for my sheer pride, I would have withdrawn my offer there and then. What were you thinking, mouthing off like that? Need a drink. Probably do. You probably do as well. She raises her hand. I gotta fight against the fucking auto-scroll. She raises her hand at one of the well-dressed concierges, who have now reappeared in the showroom to refill the guests' glasses. The conventionally handsome man approaches with a carafe. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know, like, high society things or even mid society things. I want to say that's French. It's a tray. It's a tray of red liquid. The hunger. The urge to feed. For vampires, the hunger replaces all other drives with its own powerful call. It's pretty all-consuming, yeah. I didn't even mean to make that pun there. He pours it into 2 tall glasses. It's blood again, that much is clear. You're in 2 minds about drinking it, but the memory of last night's hunger makes you wince. You take a tentative sip. You expected the same blandness you tasted a few hours ago, but this one you can actually savor. It's smoky and making you think of a cozy cabin in the woods. It does strike you as a strange image for your mind to jump to when drinking human blood. I don't know, I usually think of cabins, for storing bodies. I mean, what? But it is what it is. You've never tasted anything like it. Do you like it? I think New York City caterers have very bourgeois ideas about what good blood should taste like. Apologies, you must have so many questions. While we're on the topic, perhaps we should start with those related to sustenance. I hope we can ask all of these, because I'm actually a little curious about this one, and this one. This one is kind of a dumb question. I feel this hunger constantly. How much do I have to drink to make it go away? Sad reality is, it will never go away. How much you drink, you will always be tempted to have more. Unless you can consume someone wholly to the last drop, paying for temporary relief with their life. That is a one-way road to losing your humanity. Humanity should have been capitalized there. Vessel, a source of blood for sustenance or pleasure, primarily mortal. Well, yeah, I don't think that you can. Well, you kind of can get blood from ghosts, but only very specific. Not important. If you don't already know what I'm talking about, you don't need to. It's weird and complicated.
Best start by just taking a single sip from a vessel. Be prudent. Hot, fresh blood will be more satiating than most anything they serve in a fancy glass, but it can make you more voracious.
Ugh, so many dictionaries. The beast. I can't pronounce that. The incoherent? The obsessive. I'm just gonna go with that. Drives and urges that threaten to turn a vampire into a mindless, ravening monster. I prefer how Smiling Jack described it. And for the record, no, I have no intention of playing Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines. Actually, gonna go on a quick tangent here. Well, hopefully it'll be quick. The reason I don't want to play it is, one, it's very long. It would probably take me about as long as Jade Empire did. And it's amazingly unstable. As in, both of the last 2 times that I played through it, I had to skip the entire museum section. There's a museum section for those who haven't played it. Because all of the doors transmogrified into tables. So I just had to no-clip through. Because I couldn't get in the building. And I couldn't get into any of the rooms in the building. And that's just one example of how it likes to break. And yes, that was patched. As in the patched version of the game. If it wasn't the patched version of the game, I would never have been able to get that far. Play Bloodlines at your own risk. But play it. It's great. As to how much you should have, it depends. If you're frugal, you can survive many nights without a single drink. But it's risky, and you'll tempt the beast that is part of our curse. Tomorrow I shall take you hunting. We will explore this topic further. The blood you're having tonight should be enough to keep you happy for now. Mentioned a beast? That beast you mentioned, is that a metaphor, or... Oh, it's quite real. Although not in a strictly physical sense. It lives in all of us, our nature and hunger manifest. Ah! Here's an important one.
Cain. A mythical figure considered to be the first and most powerful vampire. Some vampires refer to themselves as Cainites, members of the race of Cain.
And yes, I know that there's an extra E on the end. I'm pretty sure that's just for style. But it's, again, referring to the biblical Cain, as in the first murderer. And, I'm sure it'll be mentioned here. Yeah, those more religious among us connect it to the biblical Cain, the rage of the first murderer, cursed by God, seething in all his descendants. The Camarilla insists that's not true. It's super true. It is amazingly, hilariously, obnoxiously true. Like, seriously, don't try to go down the rabbit hole of any of the World of Darkness settings, like lore. You will very quickly reach just mind-numbing irritation. Ugh.
I, however, am a child of the Enlightenment. Not that it makes my struggle any easier. I have to be wary like every other kindred in this city and beyond.
I'm not gonna go to kindred. They already explained that one. It's just a fancy word for vampire.
Individual kindred each have a unique relationship to their beast. What yours is going to be remains to be seen.
Actually, I mentioned this before about this being based off of 5th edition. That was something that was added in 5th edition that I actually think looked really awesome. That everybody has their own, like, they have different, I think they're called predator types. It's actually pretty cool. The Masquerade. The habit, or tradition, of hiding the existence of vampires from humanity. Designed to protect vampires from destruction at the hands of mankind,
the Masquerade was adopted after the medieval Inquisition claimed many kindred unlives. Yeah, the Inquisition kind of seriously fucked them up. But you do need to keep it under control. Each outburst endangers not just you, but also the Masquerade. The concierge returns, asking for permission. God, I'm just bungling all of this. To intrude, which Sophie gives with a polite smile, and leans in to whisper in her ear. You note that the gallery is now almost empty. I am being told the gallery is just about to close, but we still have quite a lot to discuss. We'll go to one of my apartments. My jalopy is waiting downstairs. Come! The smile she puts on makes you remember the way you felt with the Latina. Not arousing, though, more like magnetic. Find it hard to argue. I am dead certain that we've had presence used on us like 13 times by now. Even though you're still suspicious of her authority over you, her charm momentarily wins you over. Sophie leads you to a luxurious silver Rolls-Royce and invites you to sit in the back. The chauffeur, a broad-shouldered, clean-shaven, middle-aged guy, starts driving immediately. Here we get into a super important one. The traditions. The 6 traditions form the core framework for governance among the kindred. The first tradition, the Masquerade, thou shalt not reveal thy true nature. I think that should be shalt. Not like saying that's how it should grammatically be. I'm pretty sure that's how it's actually written in, like, the core books. The second tradition, the domain. Thy domain is thine own concern. All others owe thee respect while in it. The third tradition, the progeny. Thou shalt only sire another with the permission of thine elder. The fourth tradition, the accounting. Those thou create are thine own children. Their sins are thine to endure. The fifth tradition, hospitality. Honor one another's domain. Without the word of acceptance, thou art nothing. The sixth tradition, destruction. Thou art forbidden to destroy another of thy kind. The right of destruction belongeth only to thine elder. Where did we leave off? I believe I started telling you a bit about our customs. You've heard the prince refer to our traditions. The chief among them is the Masquerade. As you might have gathered from us assembling at a niche gallery after closing time, our comings, goings, and doings tend to be somewhat secretive. Okay, here's a pretty easy one. Kine, a term for mortals, largely contemptuous. The phrase, kindred and kine, refers to the world at large. Everything. We do not advertise our existence. We allow myths and modern fiction to morph and muddle the facts. So to the vast majority of kine, we remain bedtime stories and pop culture icons. Say, is that one television show about a vampire angel still popular? You shake your head in confusion. She shrugs and continues talking, looking a little bit more dejected than before. I don't know. I think that was the show Angel. I don't know. I've never seen it. Our clandestine ways help us remain safe, allow us to explain away the occasional trip up to the rational minds of 21st century humanity, and dictate much of our interactions with mortals. What's the flip side? So, like, where are the perks here? You're a vampire, but you need to keep quiet about it. What's the point? There has to be a flip side, right? Don't get me wrong. We have power. Immense power. Influence over mortals, Immortality has its benefits too, of course, but we have many enemies, and some know our weaknesses well. For one, sunlight burns us. That's why we rest during the day. Actually, no. You felt it? More like being dead than being dormant, isn't it? But we have no choice. We are night dwellers, but day sleepers. Yeah, in the day, vampires actually are paralyzed. Like, completely. In the tabletop game, there's a willpower check that you can make to be awake during the day, but you have to keep making it like every round, and it's amazingly hard.
Or if you just have the light sleeper merit, then anything will wake you up immediately and treat it as if you rolled the maximum best result the first time. Because the roll is obnoxious. Some more folk-related threats are just legends, or occasionally a minor nuisance. Garlic, running water, even religious symbols don't repel us unless the wielder is uniquely pure and godly. Yeah, that's a thing called true faith. It's amazingly rare, like to the point of being pretty much unheard of. Stakes through the heart, though, that's something to avoid. They do not destroy, but they do paralyze, which, under the right circumstances, can often be the same thing. Usually the same thing, yeah. There's a reason to have somebody like my trusted driver, Gregory, making sure you're safe when you drift away. We have many enemies, and they often know their advantage lies with daylight. Masquerade sounds like bullshit. So it's good to keep human friends. Am I right in thinking that having a human friend or two is necessary then, or at least useful? In moderation, and best if they don't know your true nature. Also, I would say that subordinates are useful, but friends? I haven't had one of those for many years now. Sect, a group of vampires arguably united under a common philosophy. The two most widely known sects currently populating the night are the Camarilla and the Anarch movement. There used to be a third one called the Sabbat, but 5th edition kind of nuked the shit out of them. Like, just destroyed them. Personally, I'm okay with that, because I always hated the Sabbat, mostly because of obnoxious assholes who like to play them. But, yeah. Even I thought 5th edition was kind of excessive about how they fucked up the Sabbat. Our little sect supplies social interactions aplenty, but it doesn't really encourage friendships. Alliances of convenience to be broken at a whim. Yes, that's more like it. Sire, a vampire's begetter, the kindred who created them. Do you really not know what a sire is? I mean, it's in the word. Long-term solidarity does occur in the Camarilla, but we are a very politicized organization by necessity. Loyalty is to your sire, to your prince, and to the sect. In that order. Friends must remain a distant priority at best for us to maintain the masquerade and thrive as the years pass. With age comes authority. With it comes influence and power. If you wish to reach for them. She seems to be lost in thought and falls silent for a while, leaving you to ponder all the things you've learned tonight. Still feels absolutely unreal, but as piece after piece of knowledge falls into place, the image becomes almost like an entirely logical jigsaw puzzle. Whatever you wouldn't believe on your own, you witness. Many questions swarm your thoughts, but the one you keep returning to is what your place in this new reality should be. The car stops. You are in the city, in front of an old but well-renovated apartment building. We're here. Would you like to see your lodgings? Is it another parking lot room? Is it another drab safe room in an underground parking lot? For my safety and all that? Don't be ridiculous! You're not a sireless fledgling in Kadir's stern grip anymore. Even he wouldn't hold you there any longer than necessary, I think. Come upstairs. If he wouldn't, then he's kind of a pussy. She leads you through a small hall with a night guard who greets Miss Langley with a good evening, and you take the stairs up to the second floor. Sophie opens the door to room 209. Inside are all the amenities you could expect from a modern apartment, and some you wouldn't have deemed necessary just the previous night, including thick blinds on the windows. The back room has a comfortable-looking bed and a thick steel door with several sturdy-looking locks, but no windows. Well, how do you like it? What, can I choose another? It feels too nice.
It's nice. This very agreeable way, you know. Lacks character. Well, I would appreciate it if you could hold back the need to redecorate. I'm actually really fond of the decor here. Tomorrow I will take you hunting and discuss the blood in more detail. I'll let you get comfortable. The keys are by the television set. I will come pick you up tomorrow night. Use the back room for rest. You can lock the doors, just in case. It stings a bit when she leaves, like the room suddenly became a few shades dimmer. You inspect the kitchen, hoping to find something to drink. Nothing. No regular food at all. Feels strange that Kadir could be a more thoughtful host than your new sire, even if only in that respect. You briefly wonder if the sheriff might have a hidden side. With nothing left to do, you lie on the couch with the TV playing in the background for company. Columbo reruns. Kojak reruns. President of the United States got himself into serious trouble again. President of the United States got himself out of trouble again. Pundits start yelling over each other about things that seemed a little bit less insignificant just 2 days ago. You start drifting off, reflecting about another night of confusing conversations and worldview-shattering revelations. How many more before you finally understand what happened to you and what you're supposed to do now? You keep coming back to the life you left behind. The people you should contact, the things you want to pick up from your apartment. You wonder when you'll have the chance for either. As you start to feel the same tiredness that made you drift into a cold sleep last night, you settle in the back room. Bed is comforting, the lack of windows less so. You leave the light bulb on. Looking at it, you realize it's the closest you'll ever come to staring at the sun on a breezy summer day again. A wave of melancholy overwhelms you. Not me! Oh, that sounds horrible! A few minutes later, your consciousness fades and you take the plunge into darkness again, sinking, sinking, sinking. Am I supposed to hit something? Apparently, yes. Well, actually, I'm gonna call it here because my throat's starting to give out. And this episode has gone way over time. If you like the game so far, from what I understand, the other two clans have largely different stories from the Bruja. And of course, there are your own options to make. The game's on Steam right now. It's at the time of this recording, it's about 10% off, so $18. And if you like this video, please like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, blah, 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 blah. It really does make all the difference. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again next time.